Hello. Here we are going to see about the light emitting diodes and also the its structures, types, and also quantum efficiency and LED power modulation of LED powers. So first, light emitting diodes. Here the LEDs are used in an optical communication system that requirement of power is not more than a few tens of microwatt. So the desired bit rate is in the range of approximately 100 to 200 megabits per second. So it is mostly coupled with multimode optical fiber, and the structure of the LED will depends on the desired applications. So the radiation of the LED is incoherent and it is emitted over a wide range of angles. So this LEDs will require less complex drive circuitry than the laser diodes, since no thermal or optical stabilization circuits are needed. So emission of light from LED. So here the empty conduction band of semiconductor is populated by electrons and it is injected into the by forward current through junction and light is generated. So when the electrons recombine with the holes in the valence band to emit a photon, this mechanism will provides the light which is emitted from the LED. So advantages of a LED here. Here it is simpler fabrication, low cost, reliability, less temperature dependence, simple dry circuitry, and it is linearity. Drawbacks are it is generally lower optical power coupled into the fiber, and it supports lower modulation bandwidth. It is also a harmonic distortions. Principle of operation. So LED can be used in the file transmission application. That is, it must have a high radiance output or a brightness. That is, it is a measure of optical power radiated into unit solid angle per unit area of an emitting surface. So the unit for radiance or power is watts. It is also required to couple sufficiently high optical power levels into a fiber. The second one is fast emission response time. So it is a time delay between the application of the current pulse and the respective optical emission. So this time delay is the factor of limiting the bandwidth with which the source can be modulated directly by varying the injected current. So the third one is quantum efficiency. So it means it is related to the fraction of a electron hole pass that will recombine radiatively. Next one is LED structures. So the LEDs should have a high radiance and high quantum efficiency. It must achieve the carrier and optical confinement. So the carrier confinement is used to achieve a high level radiative recombination at the active region, and the optical confinement is used for preventing the absorption of emitted radiation by materials surrounding the PN junction. So in LED structures there are two types. One is a homojunction LED and another one is heterojunction LED or double heterostructure LED. So first one is homojunction LED. So the homojunction LED means an LED is the simplest form and it is essentially a PN junction which will form using the one of the suitable direct bandgap semiconductors that will ensure emission in the desired wavelength. Such a LED here which uses the same material gallium arsenide on both the sides with a different conductivity is called as a homojunction LED here. So it is not useful for applications in the fiber optic communication system. So it has a poor radiance and a low quantum efficiency. So next one is heterojunction LED or double heterostructure LED here. Here heterojunction structures are used to achieve carrier and optical confinement in the central active layer. So it consists of two adjoining semiconductors, that is with a different band gap energies. Heterojunctions are also known as the double heterostructure device because of the different alloy layers on each side of the active region. So the band gap energy differences between adjacent layers will confine the charge carriers, and the refractive indices difference between the adjoining layers which will confine the optical field to the central active layer. So the electron or hole recombinations will occur only in the active layer. It consists of alloy layers on each side of the active region. So here we are, the device will consist of a p-type gallium arsenide layer, that is sandwiched between the p-type aluminum gallium arsenide and n-type aluminum gallium arsenide layer. So here the forward bias is applied in the direction. So electrons from the n-type layer are injected through p-n junction, and p-type gallium arsenide layers are become minority carriers. So the minority carriers will diffuse away from junction, and it will recombine with the majority carriers. So the photons are produced with the energy corresponding to the band gap energy of p-type gallium arsenide layer. So the injected electrons are inhibited from diffusing the p-type aluminum gallium arsenide layer because of a potential barrier which is presented in the p-to-p heterojunctions. So the electroluminous occurs only in the gallium arsenide directions junction layer, and it will provide the good internal quantum efficiency and high radiance emission. So the light will be emitted from the device, and reabsorption will cause the band gap energy in the aluminum gallium arsenide layer, and it is a large comparison with the gallium arsenide material. So the DH of the double heterojunction structure is used to provide the most efficient incoherent sources with the optical fiber communication. So these devices will exhibit the constraints to relation coupling the efficiency to optical fibers. Next one is the LED structures. So here in LED structures there are two types. One is surface emitting and another one is edge emitting LEDs. So in edge emitting we are having the superluminescent diode, and the package will be in the method of traditional as well as the surface mode. So first one is surface emitting LEDs. It is also known as the Burris emitting LEDs. So in the surface emitting LEDs, it is needed that the data rates access of 100 Mbps are required. So in surface emitting LEDs, the plane of the active light emitting region will be always perpendicular to the fiber axis. So the method will contain high radiance, and it is restrict to the emission of the small active region. So these structures will have the low thermal impedance in the active region, and it will allow high current densities and giving the high radiance emission into the optical fiber. So this is the structure of the high radiance, and it will be etched with double heterostructure surface emitter for the 0.8 to 0.9 micrometer wavelength. So in this the internal absorption in this device will be very low due to the larger band gap confining layers. So the reflection coefficient at back crystal will face the good forward radiance. So in this configuration, well is etched in a substrate, and it will avoid the heavy absorption of the emitted radiation. So the circular active area in the particular practical surface emitter is nominally 50 micrometer and in a diameter up to 2.5 micrometer thickness. So the emission pattern is isotropic with 120 degree half power beam width. So here the internal absorption is due to the larger band gap confining. So the emission from the active layer is isotrophic, and the power will be coupled within the PC into the multimode step index fiber, and it will be estimated from the relationship. So here we have considered the Lambertian with a beam of 120 degree refraction, and it will be causes due to the low refractive index of the gallium arsenide fiber. So here we are representing it as Pz is equal to pi into 1 minus r into a r d into Na squared, where r is the Fresnel reflection coefficient at the surface. So a is the smaller of the fiber core cross section and rd is the radiance of the source. So the next one is edge emitter in LEDs. So here the striping geometry of the double header over edge emitter LEDs is shown in the figure. Here edge emitting LEDs emit the more directional light pattern than the surface emitting LEDs. So in order to reduce the losses, it will be caused by absorption in an active layer and will make the beam more directional than the light is collected from the edge of the LED. So such device is known as the edge emitting LED or ELED. So it has the advantages of a transparent guiding layers with an thin active layer of 50 to 100 micrometer in order that will produce the active layer spreads into transparent guiding layers. So reducing this consequent wave guiding arrows beam divergence to have half power width of the around 30 degree in the plane perpendicular to the junction. So the junction will give the Lambertian output with a half power width of around 120 degree here. So most of the propagating light will be emitted at the end phase and it is due to the reflector on the other end phase. So anti-reflection coating is present on the emitting end phase. So here we have used the radiance emitting end phase that can be very high, giving an increased coupling efficiency. So surface emitters are generally radiated power into air, that is 2.5 to 3 times than the edge emitter, since the emitted light is less affected by the reabsorption and interfacial recombination. So here in this edge emitter couple, the optical power will be lower and lower than the surface emitters. So the next one is quantum efficiency and LED powers. So here an excess of electrons and holes in P and N type materials will be created in a semiconductor light source by the injection of carrier at the device contact. So the excess carriers can recombine either radiatively or non-radiatively. When there is a constant current flow into the LED, the equilibrium condition is established. So here is the LED power, that is the optical power emitted from the LED is defined as P is equal to eta external into P int, that is P is equal to P int by eta into eta plus 1 the whole squared, or P is equal to eta int HCl divided by Q lambda n into n plus 1 the whole squared. So the next one is modulation of LED. So here are three factors used to determine the modulation of LED. They are doping level in the active region, injected carrier lifetime in the recombination region, and the parasitic capacitance of LED. So the optical output power of the LED is biased by a drive current modulated at an angular frequency that can be expressed as P of omega is equal to P of 0 divided by root of 1 plus tau omega is the whole squared. So the parasitic capacitance that can be used cause delay of the carrier injection into active junction due to this optical output. So the comparison between the optical and electrical bandwidths are, first one is electrical bandwidth. Here the modulation bandwidth of the LED is defined in terms of the electrical, and the point where the electrical signal power has dropped to half of its constant value, and it will result from the modulated portion of the optical signal. So an electrical bandwidth, which is defined as the ratio of the electrical output power to the electrical input power in decibels, that is EB/dB is equal to 10 log base 10 of electrical output power by electrical input power. So 10 log base 10 of P of W by P of 0, that is 10 log base 10 of I squared W by R out divided by I squared W by R in. So consider the input resistance and output resistance are equal, that is R in equal to R out equal to R. So that is equal to 10 log base 10 of I of W by I of 0 the whole square. So in electrical 3 dB points, I of w by I of 0 will the whole square is equal to half. So I of w by I of 0 is equal to 1 by root 2, that is 0.707. So the electrical bandwidth may be defined as a frequency when the output current has dropped to 1 by root 2 or 0.707 of an input current. So 3 decibel electrical bandwidth is simply expressed as F3 dBA electrical is equal to 1 divided by 2 pi tau. Here the tau is the carrier recombination lifetime. So the next one is optical bandwidth. So the optical 3 decibel bandwidth is defined as ratio of the optical power at frequency W and to an unmodulated value of optical power. So that is the ratio of optical is equal to 10 log of P of W by P of 0, that is equal to 10 log of I of W by I of 0. Thank you.